The road to Buffalo continues through London, Ontario. Drops it back, the return pass forward, it's hit it back in front, they score! Antoine the tip on a sweet feed from Alex Formanton. In with Radish, holds to Thomas, scores! In behind the goal for Thomas, a centering pass, scores!
Radish and Thomas have moved the puck exceptionally well together.
Throws it back in front, Radish with a chance, scores! Taylor Radish strikes again. 8 different goal scorers, 15 players have points, and Canada jogs to a 9-0 win here in London, Ontario.
Hamilton, Ontario, where we finally get to see Dylan Dubé, the forward who hasn't played since December 9th. Back tonight, Robert Thomas, stellar on Wednesday. 4 points on Canada's first 5 goals. And he had great chemistry with this guy, Taylor Radish. They'll be together again tonight. Team Canada getting set to take on Switzerland. Drake, Batherson and company getting the weapons ready for their final tune-up. As we say hello, Canada, James Duthie and Bob McKenzie with you. Welcome to the final pre-tournament game for Canada before it begins for real. 4 nights from tonight against Finland. Game 1 on Wednesday was a near-perfect beginning for Team Canada. There have been some concerns or questions about the offense. They scored 9 goals. So much attention on Carter Hart, the starting goalie. He pitches a shutout. And tonight we get to see Dylan Dubé for the first time, who is expected to be a big part of Canada up front. Gordon Miller and Ray Ferraro with more.
For the second straight year, Dylan Dubé has missed time prior to the Canadian camp due to an injury. He's back in tonight. What does he bring to the table?
Well, he plays with all kinds of energy, and that's probably why he gets banged up a little bit. He's not a real big guy, but he plays amongst the trees very consistently. Now, he had a terrific start to the year. He had an outstanding Calgary Flames camp. There were plenty of people that felt he would stick with the Flames, at least at the very beginning of the year, but he had a slower start. It wasn't until November that he really got on track. 11 goals in his last 11 games in the Western Hockey League. He comes into this tournament banged up, as you mentioned, Gord, a shoulder problem that they were really cautious with. Kept him out of that first pre-tournament game, and so he'll jump back into the Canadian top 6. He'll have a role increase from last year where he was a penalty killer and a bottom 6 forward. Not so this year.
Expectations moderate for the Swiss. Last June, they had a player taken first overall for the first time in their country's history, but Nico Hischier's busy with New Jersey, not available to the Swiss for this tournament.
All right, thank you, boys. Here's your starting lineup for Canada tonight. You see Dubé with Sam Steele and Jordan Kyrou on what you could call the first line for Canada. Josh Mahura, who was cut and then called back by Team Canada when Dante Fabro's health became a question mark, tonight takes Connor Timmins' place with Victor Mete in that second pairing. So Bob, Fabro still out, Timmins now hurt. What are the chances we see both of those guys or one of them on Boxing Day?
Well, you're right, James. Canada will play with only 60 tonight instead of 7 because of the injury to Connor Timmins. Dominic Ducharme, the head coach for Team Canada, said earlier today that things seem to be pointing in the right direction for Dante Fabro. As for Connor Timmins, he blocked that shot against the Czechs. He's missing from the game tonight. Sort of a day-to-day thing right now. Ducharme figures that he's got a real good shot at being named to the official roster on December 25th, and that there is a chance here that both Timmins and Fabro will be good to go against Finland on December 26th.
Let's get to your starting goalies. They're brought to you by Chevrolet, proud partner of Team Canada. And yes, quite often we see the backup goalie get a start in these pre-tournament games, but look, Carter Hart is the guy, so he'll get his second straight start. We will see Colton Point likely halfway through the game. Philip Wuthrich played last year for Switzerland, but did not see any action in the World Juniors in Toronto and Montreal. Team Canada taking to the ice. Last stop before Buffalo. Final tune-up against Switzerland. Drop of the puck right after this. World Juniors on the TSN networks. Here's how it starts on Boxing Day. First game, Russia versus the Czech Republic, noon Eastern time. Then Sweden, Belarus at 2. Finland and Canada, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We're on the air for the pregame show. And USA versus Denmark. The Americans expected to be powerful. As per usual, 8 o'clock Eastern is your wrap-up on the day. So with Dylan Dubé's return, Tyler Steenbergen, who was the leading goal scorer in the entire Canadian Junior Hockey League is now the 13th forward. Do we read anything into that?
Not a lot. And Dominic Ducharme saying, don't call this guy a 13th forward in terms of the role that he'll have on the team because he's so versatile. Left wing, right wing, center, power play, penalty kill, you name it, he can do it. He'll be in and around this lineup all over the place.
Quite often the 13th forward ends up being somewhere in the top 6 by the end of the tournament. Gordon Ray with the call.
All right, thank you, James. Good evening and welcome to Hamilton. And the second pre-tournament game for Team Canada will take on the Swiss, who last year finished 7th in the World Junior Championship. Had a close call against the United States in the quarterfinal matchup. Lost that one 4-3. Referees from the Ontario Hockey League, Scott Ferguson and Patrick Myers. The linesmen are Dustin McCrank and Justin Naggs. And there is 19-year-old Philip Vutric, the starting goaltender for the Swiss. He plays for Bern in the Swiss Junior League, so a lot of these players will spend some time in their professional leagues, also in the Junior League. Vutric is one of those. And 19-year-old Carter Hart from Sherwood Park, Alberta, had an 18-save shutout against the Czechs on Wednesday night. He's got a .961 save percentage in the Western Hockey League for Everett. 17 starts for him this year. He's held the opportunity to 1-0 goals in 10 of them. And there is Christian Volvend, who is in his second year as the head coach of the Swiss national junior team, a native of Montreal. Dominic Ducharme returns for Canada as well. Almost before the game, he has replayed the gold medal game from last year hundreds of times, over and over in his head. That shootout loss to Team USA. And there is Dylan Dubé, the 19-year-old from Cochrane, Alberta, second-round pick of the Calgary Flames, plays for Kelowna in the Western League, in the lineup tonight. Missed the previous pre-tournament game and was held out of most of the contact in training camp after being injured with Kelowna prior to leaving for the Canadian camp. Sam Steele with Jordan Kyrou and Dubé, the forward line for Canada.